Hey guys, happy Wednesday. We are going to look at today's question of the days just so that I can give you some helpful hints on how to do them and what your answers are going to look like. Okay, so question number one from the question of the day wants you to use the graph, okay, to complete the question. So notice here we just have like the first quadrant with some points on it, okay? Now the question says, in the questions down there where I just marked, Brett creates a function of x with 7 points, each in a different location on the grid. He graphs 6 of the points as shown. Identify an ordered pair that could be the 7th point of Brett's function. And then I wrote a helpful hint saying write your answer as an ordered pair. Now, when you read this in your mind, what you should be thinking about is what does it mean to be a function? Now, we've done 2 days about functions, and a function is a set of ordered pairs where all your x values are different. Okay, now, what you can do is you could do one of two things. You can list all the ordered pairs that they're given, so 0, 7, 1, 6, 2, 6. You can continue to list all the ordered pairs until you have listed all 6 of the ones on the graph. And then you could come up with a 7th one so that the x value is different. Or you could check to see, does it add a point that would allow the graph to pass the vertical line test. Okay, which means if I just put a point anywhere on this grid, let's just say I put it at point 1, 4. Would my graph pass the vertical line test? No, because in order to pass the vertical line test, it could only hit the graph at one spot. So that would not be a good point. Okay, so that's your helpful hint for number 1. If we look at question number 2, it wants you to use the tables to answer the question. So it says, Marisol, Timothy, and Zorian each have a machine that purifies water. The 2 tables show how much purified water Marisol's and Timothy's machines have produced at certain times after pouring water into the machine. Zorian's machine produces purified water at a constant rate that is faster than the rate for Marisol's machine and slower than the rate for Timothy's machine. Which equation could represent the amount of purified water Y in ounces that Zorian's system produces after X hours? Now, when you're reading that, your main focus should be where it says, where I just highlighted there. Zorian's machine produces purified water at a rate that is faster. Okay, so it needs to be faster than Marisol's, but slower than Timothy's. Okay, which means it has to be somewhere in the middle. Now, what needs to be faster than Marisol's and slower than Timothy's? The rate, the constant rate. And we learned this week that in order to find the rate, you need to do triangle y over triangle x. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to first find Marisol's rate by finding the triangle y over triangle x, which is the pattern for the y's divided by the pattern for the x's. Second is to find Timothy's rate, which once again is triangle y over triangle x. And then step 3, look at your choices for your answers and choose the one that's faster than Marisol's but slower than Timothy's. Okay. Now, lastly, question number 3 says, Darren and his friends save money for vacation. Darren starts with $120 in savings. Each week, Darren adds $40 to his savings. Darren's friend begins with, and I'm going to highlight this in a different color, his friend begins with $120 in savings, but saves at a faster rate than Darren. and it wants you to write an equation that could represent the amount of money, Y, that Darren's friend saves for vacation after X weeks. And it says to write your equation in Y equals mx plus b form, or slope-intercept form. Excuse me. Ooh. Okay. So, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. So write an equation that could represent the amount of money for Darren. So if Darren begins with $120, that's going to be your beginning value. And he needs to save at a faster rate. And remember, rate is your slope or your M value. So pick a value that would allow Darren's friend to save money faster than Darren himself. And then remember, when you write an equation, it's always going to be Y equals whatever number you have for your rate, X, and then it needs to be plus your beginning value, which they give you. Okay? All right, guys, good luck.